¿Qué onda? This is Shista Garcilaso. Aztlan Weekly is a volunteer-based community news outlet. Our work is brought to you by the contributions of El Partido Nacional de la Raza Unida, PNLRU, also known as La Raza Unida Party. If you're interested in learning more about the party or want to join, visit www.razaunidaparty.org. Our show is also brought to you by Maíz Poppin' Press, a raza-based publisher producing cultura para la raza. For more info, visit their webpage, www.maizpoppin.com, or find them on social media by searching at Maíz Poppin' Press, and keep a lookout for their book, Once Upon a Time in Occupied Aztlan, by El Indio, copyright 1985. Lastly, Aztlan Weekly is made possible by you, the listener. If interested in offering further contributions or support, visit www.aztlanweekly.com. And now, on with the show.
We interrupt this program for a special news bulletin.
There is a signal broadcast every second of every day. Look around the environment we live in. Carbon dioxide, fluorocarbons, and methane have increased. We are resourced to them. They want benign indifference. They want us drugged. We could be pets. We could be food. But all we really are is livestock. Our impulses are being redirected. We are living in an artificially induced state of consciousness that resembles sleep. The poor and the underclass are growing. Racial justice and human rights are non-existent. They have created a repressive society, and we are their unwitting accomplices. Their intention to rule rests with the annihilation of consciousness. We have been lulled into a trance. They have made us indifferent to ourselves, to others. We are focused only on our own gain. Please understand, they are safe as long as they are not discovered. That is their primary method of survival. Keep us asleep, keep us selfish, keep us sedated.
¿Qué hubo, raza? Yo soy Ernesto Ayala.
¿Qué hubo, raza? Yo soy Shista Garcilaso.
¿Qué hubo, raza? Yo soy Robert Ramirez.
And this is Aztlan Weekly.
Now news desde San Luis from the Valley. According to a recent article from La Cucaracha News, community members in San Luis are engaging in a legal battle to protect their ancestral lands from foreign investors. Foreign entities are accused of utilizing questionable tactics and loopholes to seize valuable real estate belonging to families for generations. Community leaders express concerns that these actions cause displacement and erode local cultural heritage. In response, heirs have organized protests and initiated lawsuits to challenge the legitimacy of the foreign claims in court. The situation highlights mounting tension between local land rights and rapid international development. Read the full story at La Cucaracha News. For more info, visit lacucaracha.com.
Y en noticias desde Ontario, Califaslan, Chemo Abdul Karim, a 29-year-old employee, is charged with arson for allegedly destroying a 1.2 million square foot Kimberly-Clark warehouse in Ontario, Califas. Prosecutors allege Abdul Karim recorded himself starting the fire while railing against low wages and capitalism. The suspect allegedly compared his actions to Luigi Mangione, who is accused of killing a United Healthcare CEO. The massive six-alarm blaze resulted in an estimated $500 million in lost paper products and significant structural damage. Abdul Karim faces both state and federal charges, including aggravated arson, which carry a potential sentence of 10 years to life in prison. Read the full report at nbcnews.com.
The Texas Department of Transportation has installed 10 new highway signs along a 19-mile stretch of Galveston's west end to protect ghost wolves, a unique population of coyotes possessing rare red wolf DNA. These animals are notable for carrying a ghost ayele that was thought to be extinct in the wild since the 1980s. The signs were prompted by alarming mortality data from the Gulf Coast Canine Project, which recorded a steady rise in vehicle-related deaths. Positioned between the Sewell and San Luis Pass, the markers alert drivers in high-risk zones where pack territories frequently cross the road. Researchers believe preserving this hybrid population is critical, as their unique genetics could provide a roadmap for reviving the critically endangered red wolf. Read the full story at cron.com.
We'll be right back after a word from our contributors.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
I'm Scott Russell Duncan, a Chicano writer, editor, and AztlanWeekly reporter with the widest name. AztlanWeekly is produced in association with Maíz Poppin' Press, where we publish radical imagination and resistance writing that pops. Visit maizpoppin.com. We're also in association with the Palabras del Pueblo Writing Workshop, an affordable and accessible online workshop that centers La Raza and strengthens our own literary institutions. Writing that speaks to our community first and loudest. See more at palabrasdelpueblo.com.
What's up, familia? If you're looking for a space that celebrates powerful storytelling, community, and culture, the Brown Book Club is where you need to be. Since 2020, we've been building a community centered on Latina, Latino, Chicana, Chicano, and Indigenous voices, uplifting stories that reflect who we are, where we come from, and where we're going. We don't just read these books, we connect with the authors behind them. Through the Brown Book Club podcast, we've had real conversations with incredible writers, diving deeper into their stories, their process, and their lived experiences. This is more than a book club. It's community, it's culture, it's conversation. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Just search The Brown Book Club and tap in.
And more wildlife-related news desde Long Beach, Califaslan. Meatloaf, a 200-pound green sea turtle, has officially debuted at the Aquarium of the Pacific following a dramatic rescue from the San Gabriel River. Rescued in January, she was found severely entangled in fishing line and tethered to debris. The incident caused significant damage to her front flipper, necessitating specialized care and potential surgery. Currently, she is recovering in the aquarium's new specialized rehabilitation space. The facility is now fundraising for her treatment with the ultimate goal of releasing her back into the wild. Read the full story at ktla.com.
And news from Nevada, Aztlan. According to Nevada Public Radio, Nevada has long been the only state in the U.S. where someone can legally purchase sex. Now it could be the first state with the recognized sex workers union. Earlier this year, the majority of the workers at one of the state's oldest brothels, Sherry's Ranch in Pahrump, filed a petition to unionize with the National Labor Relations Board. They're looking to become the United Brothel Workers. This historic first would affiliate them with the Nevada-based Communication Workers of America, Local 9413. The movement began in December when management presented workers with a new contract. It would grant them perpetual control over workers' intellectual property, including the creative products or content people can generate and copyright. We need the right to decide the way that we work, said Jupiter Jetson, one of the union organizers. We need agency over our images, agency over our intellectual property, especially in an age where our image is our intellectual property and our future. She told KNPR that brothel workers have been victims of workplace harassment and exploitation for years, including wage theft, but this latest contract was the final straw.
And more news from Aztlan. According to the Arizona State Museum, a pair of ancestral Puebloan shoe socks dating to around 1100 to 1300 CE is preserved today at the Arizona State Museum. These items were created by indigenous communities in the American Southwest known for their advanced textile traditions. The shoe socks were made using a combination of cotton, animal hair, and yucca fibers. These materials were carefully woven together to create a flexible yet durable form of footwear suited to the region's environment. Their design suggests they were used for both protection and insulation, especially in rocky or cooler conditions. The use of plant and animal fibers reflects a deep understanding of available natural resources and their properties. Artifacts like these provide insight into daily life, showing how clothing and tools were adapted to local landscapes. Textile production was an important skill in ancestral Puebloan culture, often involving detailed craftsmanship and practical design. Today, preserved examples such as these help researchers study ancient weaving techniques and better understand how communities lived, moved, and adapted in the Southwest over centuries. For more info, visit statemuseum.arizona.edu.
Y en otras noticias desde Sur, Nevada, Aztlan Health District reports that local food insecurity exceeds state and national averages, driven by a lack of affordable, healthy options. This limited access, often caused by a high density of fast food and liquor stores, contributes to high rates of chronic conditions like obesity and diabetes. To combat this, SNHD is implementing pop-up produce stands to increase access to fresh food nutrition education. Experts emphasize that addressing social determinants, including income, housing, and neighborhood resources, is crucial for improving long-term health outcomes. By prioritizing food accessibility, the initiative aims to prevent future health complications and reduce healthcare costs. Read the full story at ktnv.com.
Pensa, damas y caballeros, we seem to be experiencing some technical difficulties. I don't know, just put it in a tape.
Pensa, damas, caballeros, we seem to be experiencing some technical difficulties.
Please stand by.
Some girls are with their vatos. We gotta flip these tacos. The hustle ain't in vain while your blood flows through my veins. For all the time, all the pain, for my people in the game. Mujeres MCs, lo traemos once again.
Hey, that was pretty dope.
Thanks.
We're actually having a little local talent showcase next week in MacArthur Park. You should hit me up.
Mommy, get back to work. What the fuck, bro? I got a business to run here.
Come on, man. I can help her.
Bro, this is my taco, bitch.
I'm just trying to get her.
500 años han pasado, yo no muero, rimo, esto es un sabor de antaño, año tras año, es la capacidad de andar peldaño a peldaño, cortando lenguas con mi lírica, los machos hago daño, alto, arriba las manos, cortando el cuello, esto es un asesinato del rey a plebeyo, la misma suerte de siempre, el pobre paga con la muerte, arrastrando con sigilo el filo, de largo camino, de las que pasaron diario el trago amargo, de las nadie, las que nunca, las que cargan en su nuca, cadenas de hambre, roban por necesidad y no por el desmadre, preguntas por qué, la estamos sembrando, toda esta cultura la que nos va alimentando, no estamos jugando, más bien estamos creando, boom, fire, representa la clase opulenta. Lo mío no es una fase, protesta, revuelta, tampoco es una moda. Rap que incomoda, en la base se hace conciencia de clase en el barrio, donde las rimas renacen. Más tarda la flor en sembrarse que en darse. Femina fatal, vino para quedarse, nació para gritar, nunca para callarse, haciendo comunidad en cada ritmo, cada frase. Me distingue el contenido, lo de afuera es camuflaje. Dime de qué has carecido si nunca has sido migrante. En esta vida de frontera delirante, derechos humanos no te da garantes. Vidas de ambulantes, caminar es desgastante. Sobrevivir es la pregunta, la respuesta es en qué parte. On the street, we do it on a beat. You know we break it down, push, play, and repeat. I'm humble with no greed, no vulture to the meat. You know I got the sound, you know I got the hit. Esto va por mis hermanas, we don't stop. Rebelión urbana, rebelión hip hop. Abajo las fronteras, yo creo la humanidad. Unión, respeto y comunidad, hip hop.
Thanks for hanging in there, listeners. Now back to Aztlan Weekly.
And we're back, Raza. That was a song by Femina Fatal called Voces en Movimiento, produced by Baja Bands and Millennium Crop Entertainment. For more from our hermana, Femina Fatal, you could find her on Instagram by searching Femina Fatal.
We interrupt this program for a special news bulletin.
Our camarada Maestro Francisco Lopez sat down with Femina Fatal to talk about her music, her background. Here it is.
Para Aztlan Weekly, yo soy Francisco López. Femina, gracias por estar aquí con nosotros hoy y cuéntanos un poquito sobre tu camino musical.
Bueno, pues yo, Femina Fatal, es originaria de Ensenada, Baja California, y pues comienzo como en eso del 2011 a allá empezar a compartir mis rimas y a subirme ahí a las tarimas y pues eso, ¿no? Como ese proceso de ser rapera, ¿no? Que hay que mostrar lo que escribes frente a las personas. Y bueno, eso, a partir de eso me doy cuenta, ¿no? Que lo que yo digo, que lo que yo escribo, pues es un tanto distinto a lo que se escuchaba en mi localidad, ¿no? Entonces, eso me ha traído a mí, pues, un sentido, ¿no? De por qué hago rap. Las letras principalmente, pues, se basan en mi contexto, ¿no? En lo que yo vivo, en la realidad que se vive en México, el hecho de ser mujer y vivir en México. Entonces, pues todos estos contextos políticos, del narcoestado, de la violencia contra las mujeres, los feminicidios y en sí la corrupción del país. Desde la política, pues eso, ¿no? Empiezo yo a hacer mi rap con estas temáticas para tomar como esa narrativa, como me mencionabas, ¿no? Y cambiarla y que sea como algo que pudiese dar información también, ¿no? A nuestra gente, como a través de la música también. El rap es una herramienta para poder narrar lo que sucede o lo que quisieras que pasara, ¿no? Es muy libre, ¿no? Entonces, lo que me gusta del rap es la libertad de poder decir lo que tú quieras decir y también consiste en ser parte de la cultura hip hop, es también respetar hasta cierto punto que otras personas van a rapear sobre otros asuntos, ¿no? Entonces, creo que eso es lo que me gusta del rap, ¿no? Que puede ser un espacio de libertad y respeto, más que nada, y pues eso ha sido desde el 2011 hasta ahora 2026, y pues eso, ¿no? Ando estrenando un disco, de que es mi primer disco en todos estos años, entonces, pues bueno, andamos contentas por eso.
Excelente, muy bien, sí, sí, de acuerdo, ¿verdad? Sí, claramente el hip hop es un camino de conciencia, de empoderamiento, ¿verdad? De uno sí mismo. Y corrígeme si estoy bien, pero estaba tratando de hacer mi tarea un poco y leí, creo que mucho de esto ¿estabas en la universidad o estabas en la prepa? ¿Cuándo fue cuando empezaste exactamente?
Estaba en la universidad, sí, sí.
Okay.
Estaba estudiando sociología, soy socióloga de profesión y pues bueno, lo vi así como que, wow, ¿no? Yo siempre pues me he querido expresar, ¿no? De alguna manera en contra de la opresión, ¿no? Entonces encontré en el rap ahí una herramienta para escribir y pues claro que el estar en la escuela y el ver temas, ¿no? Sociales que siempre me han interesado, pues los pongo, ¿no? Lo meto como en mi rap, hago mis letras sobre cuestiones históricas, ¿no? O empiezo como a unir todos esos conocimientos que tengo y trato como de sintetizarlo, ¿no? En una canción. Pero eso, siempre me han interesado los movimientos sociales y el darle voz, ¿no? A las personas que no tienen.
Excelente, claramente, ¿verdad? Todos pertenecemos al hip hop. Um, También en escuchar tu música hemos visto que hablas mucho sobre la indigeneidad, ¿verdad? Sobre raíces, conexiones. ¿De dónde viene eso, verdad? Porque eso es algo que desafortunadamente ah, de a veces lo hemos visto un poco limitado en los medios, en nuestro país, dentro de México, entre el radio, ¿verdad? Las canciones, ha tenido limitaciones, pero más y más vemos que es algo que estamos más adorando, ¿verdad? Estamos tomando más conciencia sobre de eso. ¿Dónde empezó? ¿Cuál es la conexión contigo y eso?
Pues bueno, el ser mexicana, ¿no? Pues mestiza, ¿no? En este caso, pues tenemos muy cerca, ¿no? Nuestra cultura y obviamente que nos damos cuenta que todavía hay mucha colonización en México y hay mucha discriminación y mucho racismo. Entonces siento como que esa parte del hip hop en México, por lo menos, eso es lo que queremos rescatar, ¿no? Esas son nuestras raíces. Por supuesto que vienen influenciadas de un movimiento en Estados Unidos con migrantes y personas afroamericanas, pero cuando lo mueves de contexto, nosotros empezamos como a reflexionar, ¿no? Entonces, ¿qué es lo que queremos defender, ¿no? Desde el hip hop, ¿no? ¿Cuál es nuestra raíz? Y como de dónde viene esta necesidad de mostrarlo, ¿no? Porque se quiere ocultar, ¿no? O muchas veces se quiere imitar una estética, ¿no? De otra cultura o de otro país, cuando en tu propia raíz lo tienes, ¿no? Y eso es lo que hay que defender, ¿no? O sea, a través del hip hop, ¿no? Y creo que, claro que combina, ¿no? Y me gusta muchísimo también esa fusión. Y para mí es eso, ¿no? Es la raíz de nuestros orígenes y Creo que también el rap le da mucha fuerza para hablar sobre la colonización y sobre la resistencia, ¿no? El vernos en el espejo y es que somos de piel morena, nuestros rasgos, ¿no? Nuestro cabello, cómo lo podemos hacer visible y sentirnos orgullosas a través del hip hop también, ¿no? Entonces, pues yo creo que viene de ahí, ¿no? Como de ser también rebelde. Ah, quieren que haga esto, pues voy a hacer esto, ¿no? Y como que ahí, pues echarle coco, ¿no? Ahí pensarle un poquito más qué es lo que tratamos de hacer.
Excelente, sí, ¿verdad? Claramente, sí, vemos eso mucho. Y como tú dices, echarle coco, me gusta esa expresión que usas, echarle coco. ¿Y cómo ves tú a la raza, especialmente a nuestra juventud? ¿Le están echando coco? Oímos mucho de esta transformación, que México está en un punto de transformación. Vemos que el mundo se está transformando. ¿Cómo ves tú a la juventud? Porque muchas veces también eso es la fuerza del hip hop a través de todas sus décadas, ¿verdad? La juventud le ha abierto sus brazos, la ha aceptado y la ha tomado como un vehículo. ¿Cómo ves tú a la raza, a la juventud de raza? ¿Sí está transformando, como tú dices, le está echando coco?
Pues yo pienso que sí, ¿no? No podemos generalizar, pero claro que hay una parte de la juventud que tiene, pues ahora tenemos muchísima información, ¿no? Que eso es lo que nos diferencia de otras generaciones, ¿no? Nunca en la historia de la humanidad una persona joven había tenido tanta información en un solo día, ¿no? Gracias al Internet. Entonces creo que esta etapa que estamos viviendo, esta generación, trae muchísima información y yo creo que con eso también muchas ganas de hacer un cambio, ¿no? Como siempre sucede, ¿no? Las personas jóvenes son las que primero impulsan un movimiento. Y sí, o sea, ya yo con un rato en el hip hop puedo ver que otras generaciones más jóvenes están logrando poner un mensaje, ¿no? Se están organizando también. Lo que me gusta también de las mujeres jóvenes, ¿no? También de la cultura, de la raza, es que pues ya tienen más conocimiento sobre sus derechos, ¿no? Y ese despertar de decir, oye, pues no está igual, ¿no? También las chicas de ahora pues ya no se dejan, ¿verdad? Y ya no guardan silencio como antes y eso para mí es pues de mucho orgullo, ¿no? El que nuestras niñas, adolescentes, jóvenes no tengan que pasar por violencias y por abusos y que aprendan a usar su propia voz como una herramienta, ¿no?
Sí, claro, como se dice, ¿verdad? La mata sigue dando, ¿verdad? Y te damos gracias a ti por ser una de las líderes y seguir ese camino. Volviendo a tu música, dices que acabas de, de sacar tu disco. ¿Cómo se llama tu disco?
Ah, pues mi disco, mi baby, se llama Sangre de mis versos. Ujú. Y este disco, pues así como lo dice el título, ¿no? Me ha costado tiempo, el esfuerzo de un artista independiente, ¿no? También lograr entender eso, que son procesos muy diferentes a un artista con algún contrato o con algún apoyo de alguna empresa, ¿no? Entonces, este disco, pues es algo que siempre he querido hacer, es un sueño, un anhelo hecho realidad. Eh, Muy curiosamente lo grabo en Chile y lo producen en Chile también, ¿no? Entonces, pues esta fue una gran oportunidad de conocer a mi productor, que es Roberto Alicanto, que está con M de Música, y un día nos topamos acá en Ciudad de México en un encuentro de hip hop, y justamente, ¿no? Otra vez el hip hop uniéndonos y haciendo nuestras vidas un poquito mejor, menos difíciles. Y sale esta oportunidad y digo, claro que sí. Entonces, pues lo planeamos, gestionamos, le chambeamos para poder ir a Chile y también mucho apoyo de la comunidad, ¿no? De eventos, de la gente, de mi familia y yo también ahí metiéndole flow para poder lograr viajar, ¿no? Entonces, pues fue una experiencia única, ¿no? Conocí Chile, conocí el movimiento de hip hop en Chile, grabé un disco, ¿no? Entonces hice algunas colaboraciones para un siguiente disco Y pues no, hombre, pues yo con eso, pues bien feliz, bien contenta de el gran privilegio también que es hacer rap, ¿no? Y que las personas te apoyen, yo creo que pues pues le da un sentido a tu vida, ¿no? Realmente no muchas personas tienen esa oportunidad y pues también es una gran responsabilidad para mí, ¿no? Ser rapera, lo que estoy diciendo, ¿no? Siempre me lo he tomado muy en serio, a veces demasiado en serio, pero eso, pues yo creo que este disco pues está buenísimo y pues ya salió, está en todas las plataformas digitales, lo pueden escuchar, Femina Fatal, Sangre de mis versos y está muy bueno, la verdad, muy buena producción.
Sí, claramente, estoy de acuerdo. Todas las semanas lo he estado escuchando.
Pues es mi primer EP,
Ok,
pero tengo otros como singles, ¿no? Como rolas
ok,
individuales. Ajá. De
individuales.
eso sí tengo otras canciones. Ajá. Sí tengo algunas rolas por ahí en todo este tiempo. Y también soy parte de una crew, ¿no? De mujeres raperas que se llama Batallones Femeninos, que ahorita estoy con ellas, de hecho, en Ciudad de México, ¿no? Ellas, la mayoría viven aquí. Es Oveja Negra, Diosa Espiral, Akire Retro y yo, Femina Fatal, ¿no? Entonces, Oveja Negra es de Ciudad Juárez, ¿no? Entonces, a veces nos reunimos y hacemos cosas y también trabajamos a la distancia. Es una crew que este año cumple 17 años, ¿no? Y es como de las únicas y primeras crews de mujeres raperas en México que se ha mantenido por todo este tiempo. Entonces, también mucho aprendizaje, ¿no? Yo tengo alrededor de unos 9 años, creo, con ellas. Entonces, pues todo ha sido de aprendernos un montón de cosas y de compartir y ha sido una experiencia súper enriquecedora, ¿no? A nivel como mujer, como rapera, de la cultura hip hop también entre mujeres, ¿no? Entonces, pues eso ha sido un gran aprendizaje y pues espero que próximamente podamos también estrenar un disquito que andamos ahí preparando. Igual nos pueden seguir en redes sociales también, como Batallones Femeninos.
Batallones femeninos, vamos a hacer eso. Muy bien. Y la última pregunta. Aztlan Weekly es un vehículo de comunidad. ¿Qué mensaje tú le das a la raza? A la raza de México, a la raza acá de este lado. ¿Algún mensaje que le darías? Creo que nos has dado bastantes hoy, pero un último pensamiento.
Bueno, pues la verdad es que pues les mando muchísima fuerza, ¿no? Mucho amor y que se ve, ¿no? La resistencia. Ya, gracias.
Bueno, te lo agradezco mucho, ¿verdad? Excelente, ¿verdad? Ahí estamos en contacto y te vamos a buscar para ver cuándo tenemos la chance de verte en vivo.
Ujú.
Ahora puede ser.
Yeah, muchas gracias. A ver qué lado haya. Ahí luego me avisan y
Claro, sí, sí. Si te podemos conectar
cruzo el
con
charco
algo.
y vemos qué hacemos.
Simón que sí. Ahora
Estaría
pues.
bueno.
Órale,
Ya estás. Adiós.
Cuídate.
Ido.
Bye.
Igual.
And now news from Denver, Colorado, Aztlan. Good news for drive-in theater lovers. According to the Denver Gazette, the 88 Drive-In Theater, which is just down the street from me, in Commerce City, has officially reopened for its 50th anniversary season, defying previous closure threats. As the last remaining original drive-in in the Denver metro area, the family-owned venue continues to operate at 8780 Rosemary Street. Tickets for the 2026 season are priced at $10 per person, with children under 12 admitted free. A new policy requires a $10 permit for patrons bringing outside food and beverages. The theater continues to show double features using both digital and 35mm film. Read the full story at denvergazette.com.
And in other news from Tehaslan, according to Cron News, a University of Houston report shows Texas schools are losing mid-career teachers, 6 to 10 years of experience, who dropped from 24.6% to 22.2% of the workforce in 3 years. The study reveals that schools with high populations of economically disadvantaged students are disproportionately affected, facing lower retention rates. Furthermore, only 24.4% of new teachers now enter the profession through traditional university-based preparation programs, marking a significant shift in the teacher pipeline. This loss of experienced staff is creating a brain drain of institutional memory, with veteran teachers often serving as critical mentors for campuses. Researchers warn that remaining educators are taking on more subjects with less specialized support, ultimately altering the classroom experience. Read the full report at cron.com.
And in disturbing news, desde Utah, Aztlan. A Utah doctor faces multiple felony charges for allegedly orchestrating a scheme involving the illegal distribution of prescription medications. Authorities claim the physician wrote fraudulent prescriptions for controlled substances, profiting from their subsequent sale over several months. The investigation, led by local and federal law enforcement, focused on suspicious prescribing patterns and involved intermediaries. This case underscores ongoing efforts to address the opioid crisis and ensure accountability for unethical medical practices. Read the full report at the Salt Lake Tribune webpage.
And in scandalous news of corruption from Arizona, Aztlan, nearly half of the Graham County Sheriff's Office in Arizona has been indicted on dozens of felony charges, including the abuse of a corpse and fraud. The investigation, which spans several years, alleges widespread misconduct involving the mishandling of human remains and misappropriation of funds. This mass indictment represents a historical legal action against a local law enforcement agency in the state. The Arizona Department of Public Safety has taken over daily operations to fill the leadership vacuum. While specific details of the charges are currently under seal, the incident has initiated calls for systemic reform. For more details, visit azfamily.com.
Y en otras noticias desde California, Aztlan. A University of Southern California report indicates that Raza Trabajadores, or so-called Latino workers in the Coachella Valley, earn 59 cents for every dollar paid to white workers, representing a 41% wage gap. This disparity, titled "A Valley Built on Latino," or as we call ourselves, Raza labor, persists across educational levels, with Latina women facing a 54-cent on the dollar gap. Although Latinos constitute 62% of the workforce, they are primarily concentrated in low-wage sectors such as agriculture and hospitality. Researcher Juan de Lara describes this as an economic fault line that creates significant regional inequality. The report calls for policy changes to address these systemic barriers and improve career pathways. For more details, visit thedesertsun.com.
And in wildlife-related noticias desde Arizona, Aztlan, a rare jaguar named Cinco is expanding his range in the Arizona borderlands, providing evidence that the species is establishing territory in the region. Researchers with the University of Arizona Wildcat Research and Conservation Center monitored the male jaguar navigating rugged, high-elevation terrain. The frequent sightings suggest that jaguars may be settling in the area rather than just passing through. Cinco is the fifth unique jaguar documented in the state over the past 15 years. While his presence indicates a potential recovery, experts warn that border barriers and habitat loss threaten these vital wildlife corridors. For more details, visit kvoa.com.
And finally, the Gathering of Nations Powwow, North America's largest Native American culture event, has announced that its final event will take place on April 24th through the 25th, 2026. Themed The Last Dance, this gathering marks the conclusion of a 43-year tradition in Burque, Albuquerque, Nuevo Mexico, Aztlan. The Last Dance takes place Friday, April 24th and Saturday, April 25th. Location, the Tingley Coliseum at Expo, New Mexico, Albuquerque. Doors typically open at 10 a.m. and stay open until close.
And now, eventos en Aztlan.
Hey everyone, this is Jane, your friend at Avenue 50 Studio. I'm checking in to tell you about an upcoming poetry event that we have coming to our studio later this month. We're collaborating with Soulful Poetry on his National Poetry Tour for National Poetry Month. to bring a intimate, culture-forward, curated live poetry experience with living room style seating here at Avenue 50 Studio. Let's go to another part of the exhibit that you'll be seeing when you come to this event. So, blending spoken word poetry and R&B music, the night is going to honor penmanship and emotional storytelling. This is going to be done with a curated lineup of talented poets, and we'll also be interweaving select open mic performances to keep the evening dynamic and inclusive. And this is the view from my desk. This is a ticketed event, and this is my favorite painting of the exhibit that we have so far. Event tickets will only be sold at the door, so really hope that you can join Avenue 50 Studio and Soulful Poetry put on a wonderful evening of poetry and R&B music for you guys. Thanks. Bye.
Are you a Vegas Latina that loves makeup and rhinestones? Well, join us April 19th for Makeup y Más. We're bringing La Cynthia, a pro MUA / a singer.
Soy latina, soy una baddie, representando en todos lados.
And founder of Soy Latina y Más to teach us some rhinestone placement tips. She's also being featured on Top MUA on Aztlan TV, so we're gonna have a little watch party moment with her, and she's gonna perform live for all of us. Thank you, Villa 360 Photo Booth, for providing the photo booth, so come ready for cute photos. La Cynthia is also having fun tote bags for all of us with some goodies. Shout out to our Vegas Latinas also for making this happen. We're gonna have drinks and food available for purchase directly with the venue, so we're gonna have a fun, full evening. This is happening April 19th at St. Felix in City at 5 p.m. Tickets are in the bio. Hope to see you there.
Hi, I'm Gabe Rivas Gomez, and I wrote Level Up. Level Up is a story of a trans tween named Desi who goes on an adventure in a virtual world to save her dying dog. In going on this adventure, learns that she needs to find a way to survive both in the virtual and in the real world. And it felt important to me to write this story with this character being the focus, because so much of what we are seeing in the media today is dehumanizing to gay, lesbian, trans, queer people. And when moments like this throughout history, I think it's really vitally important that we find ways to tell stories that rehumanize the people that are being dehumanized. My hope for this play is that as young people come to see it, that they feel seen, that they see a piece of themselves on stage. Come see Level Up at the LATC. Get your tickets, bring your families, bring your kids, bring your older people.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Yo soy Felicia con Mujeres de Maíz y yo soy la directora y una de las cofundadoras de la organización. Es una organización de la comunidad del este de Los Ángeles de puras mujeres de color de diferentes edades y comunidades, y lo que apreciamos es diferentes cosas como arte y activismo y también bienestar. Queremos invitarles a esa La Cultura Cura Feria de Bienestar que va a ser el 9 de mayo, un sábado de 10 a 4. Es todo gratis y gratuito. Vamos a tener diferentes sesiones de bienestar, recursos, información, presentaciones y pláticas. Todo en español y todo para nuestra comunidad. Vénganse. Muchas gracias. Cualquier información se puede dar en mujeresdemaiz.com y está patrocinado por Take Action LA. Muchas gracias. Nos vemos.
Hey, familia, ¿qué hubo? What's happening? I'm just hanging out in the portal, as usual. I'm bringing you this PPSA, Pocho Public Service announcement. Very momentous days of poetry are happening here at Medicina, so I want y'all to know about it. I don't want you to be left out. Saturday, Irina is going to be doing a workshop at 2 in the afternoon, a poetry workshop as well. So that's 2 heavy days of poesía. And the third night, y'all, which is Sábado, we are celebrating the 101st birth dia of one of San Pancho's most beloved poets. I'm speaking, of course, of Santo Bob Kaufman. We're going to be having a celebratory birthday reading of this chingon poet. Poets, the one and only, the fifth elementress herself, Mimi Tempest, will be here. And the poet laureate of the 818 is visiting as well, Sola con Carne, and my Pocho Ass will be reading as well. So the three of us are going to be reading Bob's works and also having a non-lecture discussion at the end about the importance of Kaufman to BIPOC poets and his dismissal as a beat crazy type, which he most certainly wasn't. The man was a revolutionary of the highest order. So there you have it, familia. 3 days of poesía happening in the portal. Tonight, Speaking Echelot with Nicolai Garcia and Grace Olguin. Friday, very special reading from the one and only Irene Lara Silva. And then Sábado, we're going to be celebrating our querido Bob. All events start at 7 in the evening. That's brown people time, so we're a little loose on that. But yeah, figure 7 o'clock, okay? Los vemos aquí. Aquí estamos. Cuídense.
Un evento en Houston, Aztlan, Rubato Elegy, the Nigerian-Filipino musical duo blending classical textures with modern soul, and Las Perras Cafe announce, mark your calendars, our debut album is dropping, and we're throwing a party to celebrate. Join us April 25th at 8:30 p.m. at Las Perras Cafe for a night of live music, food, drinks, tarot readings by Mystical Market Co., and snazzy vibes. We can't wait to see you there. RSVP by going to Instagram and searching Rubato_elegy. Las Perras Cafe is a Latina-owned day-to-night specialty cafe and bar rooted in liberation, located at 3401 Harrisburg Boulevard, Houston, Texas.
Y en otro evento desde Santa Fe, Nuevo Mexico, Aztlan, the Santa Fe Indigenous Center announces Native Earth Day. We invite the Native community to join us as we celebrate Native Earth Day 2026 at the Santa Fe Indigenous Center. Pick up seeds and plant starter kits from SFIC and visit some of our partners, including Mother Nature Center, Bienvenidos Outreach, NMSU Santa Fe County Extension Office, and Pueblo of Pojaque Agriculture Department, and more. April 22nd, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., 1420 Cerrillos Road, Santa Fe, New Mexico. Pick up supplies while they last. Seeds, planter starter kits, compost, seedlings, soil, local native farmer advice from Pueblo of Pojaque Agriculture Department, Southwest gardening information, Native Earth Day, stickers, and tote bags. Thanks to our partners, Traditional Native American Farmers Association, Native Seeds Search, Mother Nature Center, Bienvenidos Outreach, NMSU Santa Fe County Extension Office, Plants of the Southwest, Pueblo of Pojaque Agriculture Department, and Payne's Nursery for their support. For more info, visit their webpage at www.santafeindigenouscenter.org.
And an event in San Jose, Califaslan, La Raíz magazine announces, join us for our youth poetry event at the San Jose Floricanto Poetry and Art Festival. That's the Jóvenes Poetry Showcase, Saturday, April 25th, 2026, 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. at the Escuela Popular, 149 North White Road, San Jose, California. This event showcases the work of youth poets ages 5 to 18 years of age with open mic for additional students and up to age 25. Sign up at the event. We will also have music by Entre Zurcos and food. This will be followed by a feature event with San Jose poets and poets from as far as Oakland, San Francisco, Fresno, San Diego, and Texas, 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Thank you, Cal Arts Council, for supporting our youth workshops, poetry ambassadors, and organization of this event. Thank you, Escuela Popular, for partnering to provide space and support on our campus. For more info, visit the La Raíz magazine website at www.laraizmagazine.com.
And an event in Phoenix, Arizona, Aztlan. Trans Queer Pueblo announces, come and witness Mujeres Insurrectas, Insurrect Women, theatrical poetry born from resistance of migrant women. It is a night where the resistance of migrant mothers transforms into a vision of our past and future. Las Desmadrosas of trans queer Pueblo people will immerse you in performance reflecting their lives and experiences as women who survived gender-based violence, women who transformed their personal histories into resilience. The evening will also feature performances by other artists exploring the theme of insurrection. In addition, performances by other artists who explore the theme of uprising. This event will take place at the Phoenix Center of Arts, located at 1202 North 3rd Street, Phoenix, Arizona, 85004. For more info and to purchase tickets, find Transqueer Pueblo on Instagram. Search TQ Pueblo.
Y un evento desde Aurora, Color Aztlan, Olin.Cafetzin announces Bomb Drop. We are bringing the vibes all month long with our Bitty Bitty Bomb Mercado plus Trivia Night. Come celebrate La Reina Selena with us. Please pull up, bring your people, and get ready to sing from the heart. When? Saturday, April 18th, 1 to 4 p.m. at Olin Cafetzin. For more info, find them on Insta by searching olin.cafetzin.
We'll be right back after a word from our contributors.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
I'm Scott Russell Duncan, a Chicano writer, editor, and AztlanWeekly reporter with the widest name. AztlanWeekly is produced in association with Maíz Poppin' Press, where we publish radical imagination and resistance writing that pops. Visit maizpoppin.com. We're also in association with the Palabras del Pueblo Writing Workshop, an affordable and accessible online workshop that centers La Raza and strengthens our own literary institutions. Writing that speaks to our community first and loudest. See more at palabrasdelpueblo.com.
What's up, familia? If you're looking for a space that celebrates powerful storytelling, community, and culture, the Brown Book Club is where you need to be. Since 2020, we've been building a community centered on Latina, Latino, Chicana, Chicano, and indigenous voices, uplifting stories that reflect who we are, where we come from, and where we're going. We don't just read these books, we connect with the authors behind them. Through the Brown Book Club podcast, we've had real conversations with incredible writers, diving deeper into their stories, their process, and their lived experiences. This is more than a book club. It's community, it's culture, it's conversation. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Just search The Brown Book Club and tap in.
Welcome to Tengo un Cuento, because we all have a story to tell. I'm not talking chisme. I'm talking about the stories that saved somebody, the lessons your tia passed down so you wouldn't have to learn the hard way, the ones that make the whole family lose it at the dinner table. These are the stories that heal us, that honor us, that remind us of who we are. I'm your host, Shista Garcilaso, and this is Tengo un Cuento. Today, we have the honor of welcoming someone who has spent her life in service to our community, Olga M. Martinez. Accepted to Stanford and UC Santa Barbara, Olga chose UC Santa Cruz, where she earned her bachelor's degree in creative arts in 1973. While there, Olga and her professor, Eduardo Carrillo, the legendary Chicano muralist, and their classmates painted a mural that still stands on campus today. A proud Mecha member at Foothill College and UC Santa Cruz, Olga went on to earn her master's in special education with bilingual emphasis, earning credentials to teach students who learn differently, including those with auditory, visual, or behavioral deficits. autistic students, those with developmental delays, and physical and mental disabilities. Olga dedicated 40 years to students who needed someone in their corner, training as a writing consultant at Fresno State, advising Mecha at Fresno High School for nearly 2 decades, advising Californians for Justice, and creating a college orientation program at Fresno City College for special education students transitioning out of high school. Olga raised 2 children on her own, and both went on to college. From Arte Americas and the Mexican American Political Association to the Chicano Youth Center, Trabajadores de la Raza, and Chicano Alumni Association, the Chicano Breakfast Club, and La Raza Unida Party, Olga has never stopped showing up. Olga has never stopped showing up. A life member of California Teachers Association and National Education Association, a proud member of Fresno Teachers Association, and a past member of Association of Mexican American Educators. In the early 1970s, while Olga was finding her path at UC Santa Cruz, the city was living through a nightmare. Multiple serial killers stalked the area between 1970 and 1973, earning it the nickname the murder capital of the world. Young women, many of them college students, were among the victims, and yet in the middle of that darkness, a young Chicana kept building. Today, Olga brings us something personal, words she wrote herself, straight from her own experience. We are honored to have her here. Please welcome Olga M. Martinez.
Okay, folks, hi. My name is Olga Martinez, and le peste los calcetines, sometimes. Okay, I'm going to tell you a little story. And right now I'm just calling it the Falcon. Anyway, Elena and I met in 1971 in the cafeteria at Merrill College on the campus of the UC Santa Cruz. We have been friends ever since, although now that we are both in our 70s, we don't visit each other as much as we used to. So I was staying in the dorms when I first transferred to UC from Foothill College. And I had decided to go have some lunch in the Commons. I always did this. I always do 2 things or 3 things at the same time. That's my usual MO. So I was looking for a place to live because I didn't like the dorms. And also looking for a female model before one of my drawing classes. So I saw this girl as I walked into the Commons, and I was immediately struck by her beauty. She was sitting alone and eating her lunch. And she had long, shiny black hair, straight and fine. She had high cheekbones with a strong yet delicate jawline. Her skin appeared to be very smooth. And the color I can describe as being sort of like the color of the Southwest. You know, those browns, sandy browns. She had a sensitive look to her face, and her almond-shaped eyes, her brown almond-shaped eyes, looked up at me as I stood in front of her. I sat down clumsily and did a high-pitched hi. I did not wait for a response. I told her about my art drawing class, that I was looking for models to pose for us, and that we would pay, of course, for her work. She seemed at a loss for words, but her expression of eagerness changed quickly to suspicion. I think I read her thoughts. Is this just another Santa Cruz crazy? I introduced myself, and she responded with her name, too. And I asked her how she happened to be at Merrill. And then we shared a little bit about ourselves. Elena was a transfer student at a Monterey Peninsula College, and I had transferred from Foothill. We also found out that we had been chairs of the Mecha student group in our colleges. Mecha stands for Estudiantil Chicano de Aztlan. I had been the first Chicana president at Foothill, and she had been at MPC. Aztlan is the place the Mexica people first settled. It is located in the southwest part of the United States. Our student group stood for self-determination as well as supporting our communities. Elena was born in Warland, Wyoming, and had left home after high school graduation. She went to live with her aunt in Sacramento, California. And I had a similar post-high school experience, except that I did not have a favorite aunt. I was born in San Antonio, Texas, and we migrated to Califas when I was 10 years old. As soon as I graduated, I went to work. In terms of jobs, I started to work in the tomato fields at 12 years old, and then they kicked me out because I was too young. Then every summer, we would all go to pick grapes. Those grapes became raisins by the end of the summer. Then I was a nanny a telemarketer, a postal clerk, a psychiatric nursing assistant for the VA. And then I began my college education. That first year at UC was full of optimism and political activism. We were cultural and social activists. We invited guests like Cesar Chavez and Cheech Chong. We also did fundraisers too and got involved with other colleges. One day in the fall quarter, we planned and executed a dance. Elena and I were in charge of collecting the dance receipts and cash, counting up the money and placing it in a locked cash box, and then we placed that box in the professor's office. He was our sponsor. By the time we finished cleaning and counting, it probably was almost 2. We had decided that after the dance, we would drive up to San Francisco to see our friends, Joel and David. All 4 of us were Huelga supporters and participated in rallies and boycotts with the United Farm Workers Union, which was very prevalent at that time. It was the grapes and then also boycotting Safeway. So when we got into Elena's blue Fiat, we were tired. The dance had been a success, but we were happy to end the event. We sped out towards San Francisco, hoping we would outrun the thickening fog. We were driving along and talking about nothing in particular, and I began to doze off in my front seat. Then suddenly Elena hits my arms. She yells, "Oh, wake up! There's somebody trying to hit us from behind!" And I was still sleepy, but scared by the urgency in her voice. Elena was clutching the steering wheel, and because her body was so tense, she appeared larger in the small bucket seat of the car. Elena kept talking while I tried to peer through the back window into pitch darkness. I could not detect any kind of form in the vehicle behind us. Tense. Very tense. She continued. A car comes up, and he comes up real close behind me and then suddenly brakes. And then he's done that twice already. Elena continues driving her little Fiat and even speeding up more. Then nothing for a while. I said, "Don't worry, he has probably turned off." I began to settle down when suddenly we see the car right behind us with his brights glaring. Then he's beside us on the right side. Then Elena is yelling to me, "What do I do? What do I do? He's going to hit us. He's trying to hit us." And then he veers to the left and we veer also. And I find my voice and I say, go around, we can't stop." She maneuvers around it and steps on it, full throttle. Her little car suddenly feels like a flying tank. It cranks up a hill with smoke spewing out of it into us, our faces. All I could think of was the recent kidnappings around the Santa Cruz community. There had been helicopters up by the university and many were staying in their homes out of fear. When the car, a white Ford Falcon, had come close to us, I had seen 2 or 3 shadowy figures in the back, in the dark. Elena was flying and I was praying, hoping that we wouldn't crash. We drove like this for what seemed like a long time, and I kept looking back and then couldn't see any headlights or the form of a car at all. It seemed as though we were both in the same bad dream. We were past Half Moon Bay when we saw a highway patrolman cleaning up after an earlier accident. Elena asked me if we should stop. I yelled, yes, yes. We parked by the side of the road in front of his car, and I jumped out and ran back to the CHP. Elena followed, and I began to tell him what had happened, and he asked me a few questions, and Elena came up and continued hurriedly telling him about the weirdos in the white car. We were obviously shaken, and he looked down at us, and then he said, "You don't have to worry now. I will protect you. You can just continue on your way." Elena and I just looked at each other, communicating through our same thought wave. Wow, he sounds like a chauvinist pig. When we were back in the car, we just laughed, and perhaps that released our mutual tension. We had nothing to fear. Our protector was there for us. We calmed down about the near mishap and talked about the description of the car and the figures in it. We kept thinking and talking about it. Was there something we had missed? Then we got into the why. There were questions like, maybe they thought we had money. Maybe they had been waiting for us. And what if they were the kidnappers or the killers everyone was talking about? We arrived in San Francisco finally and went straight to David's brownstone, and he met us at the door. After we were sipping some beer, we started recounting our drive to the city, and Joel just looked at us and asked how much we had to drink or smoke. We laughed. Elena was feeling like maybe they didn't believe us. But then we got more agitated. Joel began to see that we were serious, but to add more mystery to the bizarre night, he remarked that in the book, Journey to Aztlan by Carlos Castaneda, the brujo, or Don Juan, had said that the image of death is a white falcon, or hawk, following you. We all looked at him, and Elena's eyes grew wider as we remembered. But hadn't Castaneda admitted that Don Juan the brujo, the wise man, had visions that were induced by the drug peyote? No, this had been real, and we were not drinking or using drugs. Then Joel, in a low voice, said, yes, but what if it was death following you? And he trails off. Then David came over behind Elena and put his hands on her shoulders and said, well, don't worry, because you're safe with us. Elena and I looked at each other, remembering the CHP's words. We again thought the same thing. Yeah, we were relatively safe now, but only because of the fast thinking, the fast actions of two young Chicanas. The end. Well, death is always following us, isn't it? Nothing to be afraid of.
Olga, thank you for trusting us with your story. And it's beautiful. She told us that sharing this story moved her to reconnect with her friend Elena. And now they're back in touch. To everyone listening, you are not just an audience, you are witnesses. It is an honor to receive these stories, because tengo un cuento, we all have a story to tell. Hasta la próxima. And now, Aztlan Weekly presenta Humanidad Behind Bars.
There are stories we're often taught to simplify, to reduce people to a moment, to a charge, to a label. But step inside county with me, and you'll find something far more complex. You'll find people thinking, questioning, and still becoming. This is Humanidad Behind Bars. Hello, everyone. This is Profe Melanie Baru, and I've been thinking about the power of the tongue this week and how labels are oftentimes given to our friends, our family, our loved ones, and how quickly people will internalize those labels and live them out. Regardless if we give these labels to others consciously or unconsciously, they have great power and they can quickly turn into one's identity. It has me thinking of one of my students who was an elder. He was a 62-year-old white man, and he entered into my class in county, again teaching Introduction to Sociology. And he was about to be released 1 week before class ended. So he turned in his homework early and we shared space together. And we shared words with him to say how much we appreciated him. And I let him know that I was proud of him and that I was honored to teach him and I was honored to learn from him. The class cheered him on and they were just so excited. He was quite emotional, and you can see how he was trying to fight back his tears, and he just kind of had his head down and he's trying to appear stoic, but you can see how he's again fighting back the crying, but the tears are dropping at the side of his cheek. He stood up, again emotional, trying to hold back those tears. And when he was able to speak, he apologized for his crying. The other men, the other students, the other rising scholars said, "Hey, you're so-and-so, you're human. Hey, men, men cry too. We cry too." And I was like, okay. I said, "What chapter is that? And everyone starts laughing. It kind of, it kind of lifted, the emotion in that space. If I give you context regarding this particular rising scholar, he lived most of his life in institutions, in and out of jail, and also in and out of prison. And he said, when he was able to speak, he said, "This is the first thing in my life I've ever completed. And he was so incredibly emotional. He said, and I'll never forget this, he said, inside prison, I'm somebody. I'm a barber. People come to see me. People get happy to see me. They like the haircut that I give them. I'm proud of my work. Out there, I'm just a jailbird, like my family says. But now, after finishing this class, I'm a college student. I'm a rising scholar. And it was quite emotional. And, people saying, you are somebody, you are some. We're all saying, you are somebody. But it makes me think about how labels shape our identity. Regardless if we're saying them consciously or unconsciously, they can speak life into people or they can speak death into people. We can build people up or we can tear people down. And so I think about my student and think about how he's in many ways lived out his label and that he was introduced to a new label, that of a college student, something that had belonging, something that had deep meaning, something that had pride, and that he was internalizing that new identity. So I end with saying, may we choose our words wisely and may we choose them with love. Thank you for listening. This is Profe Melanie Baru, also known as Chicana Mel, and this is Humanidad Behind Bars.
That was our camarada La Profa Chicana Melanie with the Rising Scholars Network. For more, search Insta for Chicana_Mel. That's Chicana with an X. And for more info about the Rising Scholars Network, visit their website, risingscholarsnetwork.org.
And now Aztlan Weekly presents Where in Aztlan is Scott?
We interrupt this program for a special news bulletin.
Tell me where in Aztlan is where in Aztlan is. Tell me where in Aztlan is where in Aztlan is Scott.
My name is Scott Russell Duncan, Chicano writer and editor with the widest name. And this is Where in Aztlan is Scott. And to help me answer that question, today we're here with Robert Ramirez of the Brown Book Club. Robert, where in Aztlan are we?
Hey, Scott. Today we're here in Denver, Colorado. Glad to be here.
That's great. So, maybe you could tell us a bit about yourself. First off, are you from Denver, and where's your family from?
Yeah, so my family kind of comes from Mexico. All my grandparents are from Mexico. Ojinaga, Chihuahua, Durango, by way of El Paso. So I have family in El Paso, and most of my family is in Las Cruces, southern New Mexico, down by El Paso and by the border. My parents came to Denver when they were young and in love, right? And that's where me and my brother were born. So I got to grow up here in Denver, but all the summers, all my breaks were spent down in Las Cruces and in Albuquerque and El Paso. And I lived in Cruces myself. I went to New Mexico State University for 2 years and then came back home and graduated from CU Denver. I was a political science major, always been, real big into politics, things like that. And in that, I got involved with, I was always a writer, always been a writer, a big reader. And I want to say around 16, 17, I was living down in Las Cruces in high school. So I basically have always been back and forth from Denver, New Mexico. And I got into like spoken word slam poetry as like a 16-year-old. I got real tight with the slam poetry team out of Albuquerque. it was like Hakeem Bellamy and Jessica Lopez and Carlos Contreras, like all these awesome poets. And then there I am, like the 16-year-old, just soaking it all in. They're taking me to all their like slams after the slams, and I'm like, this world is amazing, you know. So, and then I moved back to Denver, like my senior year of high school, and I got to meet all the Denver Slam poets and that were just doing big, amazing things, like Bobby Lefebvre and Panama Soweto and all these just like awesome poets, Ken Arkind. So as far as the slam world, and this is when they were doing these like winning the national slam poetry, and so I just happened to be in the right place at the right time, and yeah, so.
So what led you to start the Brown Book Club?
So always been a big reader and always been one to really like take our culture, focus on it, and want to run with it, you know. But you know, I'm married and kids and all of that, you know, paying the bills always came first. And then here we come, 2020 and the pandemic, right? So a lot of people weren't out working as like they normally do. A lot of people were at home, and then come what was it, May, June, you know, people were out in the streets, people were protesting, and you know, I was out there in Denver and in support. And I just kind of, you know, I realized in that moment that like certain communities, in this case the Black community, they really come together in solidarity during certain times, and they have historically, and we have too, you know, as brown people, Chicanas, and but not in the same way, and which is okay, right? We're not all the same. It's not a monolith by any means. But I was like, I think the big part of the reason why we don't come together is because we don't know. We don't know our history. You know, we don't learn about the Chicano movement like we do the, you know, civil rights movement, the traditional, you know, civil rights movement. History in school is very black and white. And so I've always learned on my own, not through school, about the movement and about our history and culture. And so I was like, okay, this is a great time to like start this book club. I was like, this is going to be a cool, like maybe 5 or 10, 15, 20 of my friends will get together, you know, in here in Denver, and we'll just have some beers or whatever and talk about Chicano liberation and revolution. You know, that's how I pictured it at first, imagined it. But because it was a Facebook group, it just kind of organically grew. It wasn't about revolution. It was more just like, hey, we need a release from this pandemic. Like, so we just came together and started reading books and enjoying it, you know, having Zooms together and just kind of releasing that tension of the pandemic and the stress. And so that's how it started. We've done a book every single month since July of 2020. And as it grew, it quickly became like 100, 200, 300, and then jumping into the thousands of people. And we're currently at just over 9,000 people. You know, nothing crazy in social media land, but a lot of people that are really interested in our culture and reading and from us and by us, you know. So it's been a really cool experience so far. Some awesome moderators along the way, people who have, you know, seen what we're doing with the group, and they wanted to be more involved and wanted to kind of be more hands-on. So, you know, it's not just me, thankfully, because it is a lot to handle. But, you know, a lot of people from all over the country, primarily like California, Texas, that help with running the book club. So yeah.
So, congratulations, obviously, because I've seen it grow, right? Because I saw it during the, you know, pandemic times, to the Brown, you know, Chicano grapevine, people told me about it. And then now it's huge, right? Do you have kind of a mix of age groups too? Because one thing I've kind of noticed, like, a lot of even, like young Raza, they don't even know like who Joaquin Murrieta is, you know, which is a shock to me every time. But like, maybe you could talk about, like, are you reaching young folks? Are you reaching, I mean, like, what are their interests? Is it really spreading to different kinds of Raza, or, what do you think about that? Those things, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's an awesome question, because the demographics, it has basically always been seven, as far as, because Facebook, whatever, lets you see the demographics of your group. And if we're just looking at that and not Instagram or anything else, it's always been like 75% women. And if you look out there kind of in the publishing world, more than anybody, the people getting published are a lot of women. But so I guess what I'm getting at is men don't read, right? And we do. I mean, I know I do, but say just like in my family of 50 people, cousins and uncles and tias and tios and stuff, like maybe two of us guys like read or can have a conversation about books. It's always just about like work and sports and all these like ultra masculine things, which is fine. But I've come to the conclusion that men don't read, right? And at that, like you mentioned, age groups. So the group itself is Facebook primarily. It's just like an easy space to have a group and organize it and whatnot. And it's mostly older people, I would say. So I'm 36. And I would say I'm almost always the youngest person on all of our Zooms and the chats, things like that. So I would say it's like 40 and above. But even then, it's hard to get young people talking about books and reading and traditional reading at that. I am very happy with the group of people that we do have that is mostly older, and they do have all this experience and insight, and they remember, what it was like in the 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s versus the young people that it's new to them, right?
Well, I haven't done a scientific study, but I think that's kind of common, like age group for a lot of book groups. They kind of tend to be, and also the makeup as far as like women and being in that age group too. But I would say the problem I see for our community is that we need everything, right? But and you're providing, at least there's a book club where you would welcome these young folks, young dudes that should be reading. So they got a place now, right? So I think congratulations for that you're doing this, and it takes and also it's a welcoming space too, and you also interview writers, you also do other things like that, bringing our people from our culture to others. So I think it's you can. They have to have some. You could lead a horse to water, but there has to be water. You're giving us spots to have some water.
Yeah, no, and it's been great. It's the way we've grown, and it's been organic. Yeah, it might take 100 new members to get one or two that are actually will read the book with us or start commenting about culture related things.
Do you have any plans for the future, like not just expanding, but doing different kinds of things or reaching people in new ways or anything like that you could tell us about?
Yeah. So the way I see it happening in the future is like there would be a brown book club, quote unquote, group in every major city where they actually meet in person, so Brown Book Club San Antonio, Brown Book Club LA, or whatever we have a Brown Book Club Colorado. And that was because now that pandemic's all over and all that, I want to actually be able to meet with people in my own community where we can, because this is not a political group, but to have to be in a book club, to be in a Brown Book Club, that is political, right? So
Absolutely, yeah.
Right. So I want to be able to get together with people from my community, and we've been doing it. We've met maybe 5 times now, and read the books and talk about things going on in our community, things, whether it's city council resolutions or, whatever government things are going on, or just getting together to do a fundraiser for somebody who needs it. Like, I would love to see that happen all over the country. And maybe it's kind of like a selfish or like cocky to like call it the Brown Book Club, but hey, if somebody that's been in the club virtually for 5 years is like, hey, I want to kind of start something in my own town, like, do it. We'll help you. We'll help you crowdfund if you need something like that. So yeah, it's almost like creating a what would you call it, a franchise, right? But it has nothing to do with money. But a franchise of groups of people all over the country, coming together for the right reasons. It'd be cool.
I'm definitely interested in, as an editor, I don't have that much time to read other things, but I would love a brown book club. And I got one last question for you. Will we be able to get a t-shirt?
Yeah. We'll definitely get you a t-shirt, Scott.
All right, thank you. Well, I want to thank you for your time and thank you for what you do with Brown Book Club. It's a very important organization that you started, and I hope to see it franchised everywhere. So again, thanks to Robert Ramirez with Brown Book Club, and this has been Where in Aztlan is Scott, and stay tuned for more Aztlan Weekly programming.
Aztlan is where in Aztlan is Aztlan is where in Aztlan is
Yeah. And now we return you to our regular scheduled program.
And now Aztlan Weekly presenta Op-Ed with our camarada Yvette.
¿Qué hubo, raza? This is Yvette Xochillot reporting for Aztlan Weekly desde el condado de La Naranja in Sur Califas. Bueno, I think we all know that something feels off. Every week, the conversation is constantly changing. We talk about immigration one week, then there's something else. There's a political scandal, drama, then another headline. And I know that it's not that people don't care. It's just that the attention keeps moving. And when attention moves, certain things disappear from the conversation. It doesn't mean they actually stop happening. Let's look at immigration detention, for example. For years, there have been reports of what happens inside those camps of pain and destruction. Not once, not twice, but they happen over and over again. There's allegations, investigations, and people brave enough to speak out. And still, every time that it comes back into the news, it feels like people were hearing it for the first time. Like the system has not been there the whole time. And that's what I mean by historical amnesia. It's not just the forgetting about the past. It's about losing track of what is still happening right now. Lately, I've been seeing people say that everything going on is part of a distraction, that it's all meant to pull away attention from the Epstein case and the people connected to him. And I understand why people feel that way, but I don't think everything's just a distraction. Some of what we are seeing has been developing for years. Policies, enforcement strategies, and the long-term plans didn't just happen overnight. They existed before, whether people were paying attention or not. Multiple things can be true at the same time. And while the conversation shifts, the realities stay exactly the same way that they have always been. Our gente are still in detention. These families are still going through the same system. Nothing about that has paused just because the headlines have changed. And it's not just immigration. I have seen this pattern before. With policing, with labor rights, who gets protection and who doesn't. The people the most affected, as you all know, are the same. The ones that rarely stay at the center of the conversation for too long. That's the part that feels familiar. Not the events themselves, but how quickly they stop being talked about. Like our pain and struggle is just temporary. Pero como decimos en México, ni perdón ni olvido.
And now Aztlan Weekly presenta Palabra.
Piali Masawalime, Piali no Wampoyowan. I mean, hello my indigenous people, hello my friends in Huasteca, Barian, Nahuatl. I wrote another poem. This one is dedicated to myself, and it's called Chicana Movement. Before I go ahead and start, my alarm keeps beeping, so yeah, I haven't changed the batteries before you guys start talking shit. Ya les dije. But yeah, here it goes. Julieta Cruz, here to stay. Dance Azteca, feather sway. Half Tequesha, half Kashka native, my blood runs deep. In the earth where my people fought in sleep. With copal in my hands, I stay grounded and whole. Their spirits with me, guiding my soul. Under the sun, drums be strong. Ancestors with me, where I belong. Tatuajes on my skin, my story, mi vida. Every mark of fight, every scar, una herida. Judged by the world, I never break. Each step I take por mi gente's sake. Not what words flow from my soul. A voice from my people making me whole. Chicana studies my passion, my fight. Learning mi historia, taking back our right. Full-time in school, still I stand. Trabajo en classes, dreams in hand. Straight from mis padres, their love my guide. For mi raza, mi gente, for those yet to come. I beat the drum loud, para todos for some. Almost at the finish line with my degree in hand. A Chicana who's walked alone, but still I stand. Part of who I am, of where I'm from. A warrior, a daughter, a story that's just begun. This journey's for my raza, for the generations to come. For the dreams of my people who rise as one. I honor my roots, my blood, my name. Bumping rolas, I hate each one of my veins. They call me Chicana Movement for a reason. Julieta Cruz, a voice, a force, not just a season. I stand with my people, proud and true. And this movement's in me and I'll carry it through.
That's our hermana Julieta. For more from her, visit her Instagram page searching Chicana Movement.
And now Aztlan Weekly presenta Hablas Nahuatl featuring Paquilistli.
How to count 1 through 20 in Nahuatl. Se, Ome, Eyi, Nawi, Maquili, Chicuase, Chicome, Chicueyi, Chicnawi, Mahtlacli, Mahtlacli Wanse, Mahtlacli Wanome, Mahtlacli Waneyi, Mahtlacli Wanawi, Caxtoli, Caxtoli Wanse, Caxtoli Wanome, Caxtoli Waneyi, Caxtoli Wanawi, Sempowali, Sempowali. Now you know how to count 1 through 20 in Nahuatl.
That was our hermano, Paquilistli. For more info from him, search Paquilistli on Instagram. You can also find him on YouTube by searching the same name. And now Aztlan Weekly presenta Pa Que Sepan.
Yes, ritual killing existed in Mesoamerica. Surprise, our ancestors were human beings. No serious scholar denies the existence of these killings. But what most people think they know, quote unquote, about Mexica Aztec sacrifice is colonial propaganda. Weaponized storytelling and sensationalist nonsense repeated for over 500 years in order to demonize indigenous people and justify everything done to them in the name of Christianity. I mean, let's face it, sacrifice is a loaded word, and the settler colonialist machine loves to trot it out front and center whenever talking about our Mesoamerican ancestors, as if this were the single defining characteristic of our cultural inheritance. But the word sacrifice falls short when it comes to Mesoamerican worldviews. As David Carrasco and other leading scholars have pointed out, payment and reciprocity are far more accurate ways to describe these ancestral worldviews, which were built on a social system of giving back. In Nahuatl, this is known as Nextlahualistli, or paying the debt. The universe gives you life, breath, rain, maize, sunlight, and existence itself. You, therefore, owe something in return. It was a sacred obligation of cosmic maintenance meant to keep the world in motion. You didn't whine about it. You fulfilled your duty. So let's ditch the sacrifice talk and start using words that better describe the philosophical worldview that undergirded these sacred acts of ritual killing. Let's use the words our ancestors used. Words like Nextlahualistli, debt payment, or Teomiki, a sacred death. It's no accident that colonial narratives ignore the fact that the vast majority of ritual offerings were not human beings. In fact, the most common offerings were the same things that humans offer everywhere to things that they consider sacred. Things like flowers, precious stones, pottery, incense, food, music, and dance. At the Templo Mayor alone, archaeologists have uncovered thousands of such offerings. And if ancient Mexicans were supposedly obsessed with slaughter, explain the literal mountains of flowers, ritual objects, and other ceremonial gifts in lieu of human bodies.
Shout out to Curly Tlapoyawa. Also, if you'd like to hear more from Curly, he and Ruben Tlacatecat co-host the podcast Tales from Atlantis. You can find the show wherever podcasts are available and on social media by searching Tales from Atlantis.
And now, shout outs.
We'd also like to make another special shout out to Hennessy Pedro Parker, desde Houston, Texas, for providing his firme music and beats through the program. If you'd like to hear more from him, visit soundcloud.com/Hennessy Pedro Parker.
And once again, our camarada Veronica Aliel would like to give a shout out to all Raza who are in any way contributing to building locally in their communities. And then invite to join El Partido Nacional de la Raza Unida to build national political power. If interested, visit razaunidaparty.org. That's razaunidaparty.org. And finally, Aztlan Weekly would like to hear from you, Raza. If you reside anywhere in Aztlan and would like to share newsworthy events with us, or if you would like to make a special shout out to family, friends, y queridos, or an organization serving our community, or if you would like to share your thoughts, cáiganle. Shoot us an email at news@aztlanweekly.com, or you can visit our website at aztlanweekly.com.
You can also find us on social media. Search Aztlan Weekly and click follow, subscribe, like, or share.
Thanks for listening, Raza. Hasta luego.
Gracias.
Que viva la raza y que viva Aztlan libre. Es todo.
Minutes, Coordinated Universal Time.